Today we will talk about a very important conjunction of two very powerful planets, Saturn and Mars. So the planets are in the same degree, which means that the planets are in a war. So when the planets are in the same degree, this position is called War of the Planets. And Saturn and Mars in Capricorn now, which give us a lot of energy, a lot of power, a lot of determination. But this combination can also be a little bit damaging for those who are, like, for example, in the relationships. And today I will give you an advice on how to act under the influence of this conjunction in order to achieve the best results. So first of all, we need to remember that Saturn represents discipline. It represents order. It represents wisdom, life lessons, difficulties in life. And Mars represents action, anger, victory, determination, and power. So when those two planets get together, we call it the conjunction that can create a lot of conflicts. So this conjunction will continue until April 7th, and starting from tomorrow, Mars will be moving away from Saturn, which means that the conflict situations, wherever you may feel them now, may become less and less. They will be lessened. But the results, right, of the actions that we put together during this period from today until April 7th may have their consequences. That's why it's very important to know how to act appropriately. So the planets are sitting in Tanishta Nakshatra, which is also ruled by Mars. And you may notice that there is a lot of fire energy because Mars represents fire, Saturn represents air. And when air acts with fire, the fire becomes bigger, and that fire also represents anger. Therefore, it's very important during this period to control anger, to not to be, tempted to go into the conflict, to go and clarify in relationships. It's not a good time at the moment. Nakshatra gives ability to command, to rule, and to organize. And again, these abilities need to be used with purpose, because if we use the command, like the ability to command and rule and organize in the wrong place and in the wrong time, we may ruin our relationships too. So just be intelligent when you use this power. Power needs to be directed in the proper way in order to achieve the right results. Also, nakshatra may give problems in a relationship. It may make a person a little bit cruel, a little bit envy. It may make the person act without any consideration of the consequences. Therefore, it is very important to foresee the results of your actions. So if you would like to act spontaneously, independently, just foresee how this will affect your maybe colleagues, your friends, your relatives, and your relationships. Take responsibility for the results and act based on dignity. Mars on its highest level is dignity. It is discipline. And Saturn on its highest level is spirituality. It's, I would say, acting for the goodness of all of the people, being stable and being practical. So just combine those high qualities of these two planets when you think of your achievements. Which is like what also important, right? If we go by Mars and Saturn qualities, develop determination for the goodness. And we're speaking about Saturn here and Mars as well, because Mars is a protector on its highest level. And Saturn is, I would say, servant. It's a servant which acts, which gives us the life difficulties so that we can learn the wisdom, so that we can understand that when we serve, this is the best way how we can be in a relationship. It also may require you to develop tolerance to go for the difficulties. Saturn represents difficulties and Mars represents desire to act, right? And when those two qualities get together, they can be impatient. So just be patient. Develop that I would say patience, right? In order to stay strong in a difficult situation, and it's called tolerance. The difficulties will be in the houses where you have Capricorn in your chart. So just if you have your chart handy, open it and see where you have Capricorn in your chart. So that house may experience difficulties during this conjunction. The difficulties will lead to the transformation of your heart, because the purpose of Tanishta is to transform the consciousness into spiritual consciousness, to connect with the highest wisdom. And therefore, if we choose ourselves, if we make our choice towards wisdom, towards care, towards goodness and self-realization, that will save us from the problems going forward and from the difficulties in the areas where this conjunction is happening. It is very important during this time to stay peaceful, to be practical, to control anger, and to control the feeling of being right, because Mars is about power, it's about control, and Saturn is about restrictions. It's also about pressure. So just make sure that you're not pressing everybody around you with your own rightness, and the same, don't let other people to do this, because that may also lead to conflict. Just avoid such situations where you see that the person is very much determined to not to take into consideration your position, your feelings, and your point of view. It's not a good time to clarify, because it also, the planetary influence will be showing the tendencies of our consciousness, and may take time, for people to develop that consciousness. And therefore, Saturn creates difficulties in our life so that we develop the consciousness of service, the consciousness of consideration, the consciousness of understanding that other people may have their own situation, may have their own struggles. So basically, Saturn teaches us compassion, and this is now a good time to apply this skill in life. Avoid narcissism, avoid pressing people with your opinions, and avoid over-controlling and being very possessive, because this conjunction in Tanishta Nakshatra may give that tendency to be so, that can be very ruining for the relationships. It is a very good time. Now I will tell you what's good to do. It's a good time to do yoga, to do meditation, to do charity, to do mantra singing, because Tanishta Nakshatra gives a very powerful transformation and harmonization to those who sing Vedic mantras. And if you don't know where to get the Vedic mantra, go to my Instagram and search for the post mantras for for each planet, and each planet has its own sound vibration that is supported by the mantra. So when you sing these mantras, at least 1 minute per mantra per day, you will see tremendous improvement in the life areas represented by those planets. It's also a good time to cure any diseases. It's a good time to end any unhealthy relationships and stop any bad habits. Now, it is recommended, it's not recommended, so it's not a good time to start any new relationship during April 4th and 7th. Again, because this conjunction, as the purpose of this conjunction is to end, right? It's not good for any beginnings. It's also not good to meet with people that require any gentle attitude, and it's not a good time to get married. Now, what is also important, according to the nakshatra and the conjunction, to look after your heart, look after your knees, nerves, hair, muscles, and digestion. So that's very important. Now I will tell you how this conjunction will affect each zodiac sign, and what is recommended and not recommended to do for each ascending sign and also moon sign. So how do you know what your ascending sign? You take into consideration your time, place, and date of birth, insert it into the program called, like I use Vedic Horror program. You can use whatever program is available to you. And the ascendant, the AS sign, right, in the first house of your chart will represent the rising sign. It's also called the rising sign, right? And the moon sign is where your moon is sitting. So what sign of the zodiac has your moon moon in your chart. So that's going to be your moon sign, right? So now I will go by each zodiac sign to give you the recommendation. For Aries, 10th house of the horoscope will be active, and therefore make sure that you stay very careful at your work with your colleagues. Do not fight with them. Do not just make sure that you keep your reputation in a good shape. For Taurus, 9th house of the horoscope will be active. So this conjunction will be sitting in the 9th house of the horoscope, which means that you need to look after the relationships with your teachers, with the government, with law, and with your father. Make sure that you don't create any obstacles there, any conflicts. Respect them all. Avoid any conflicts in those areas. For Gemini, 8th house of the horoscope will be active, which means that there can be unforeseen stressful situations. So 8th house of the horoscope is the most mystical house. It's very hard to predict, but if you're seeing, like, it's a house of intuition, if you're feeling that something may go wrong in a certain areas, it's very nice now to listen to your intuition and just not to go into that area until that conjunction is over. For Cancer, the seventh house of the horoscope will have this conjunction, and 7th house of the horoscope represents our relationships with others, our friends, spouse, business. So make sure that you're not quarreling with your spouse. You're not trying to prove who's right, who's wrong. It's not a good time now. And same thing with others. Do not press them with your opinion, and do not let them do the same to you, because the impression that stays with us may also be very toxic and may ruin the relationships going forward. Now for Leo, 6th house of the horoscope will have this conjunction. 6th house of the horoscope represents our ability to again fight our diseases, our problems, issues in life. It's not a good time to take any loans. It's a good time to do service, to help other people to solve their problems, and that will help you going forward. Look after your digestion and the health of your intestines. For Virgo, 5th house of the horoscope will have this conjunction, and 5th house of the horoscope represents students, it represents kids, it represents anybody who follows you. So just be gentle with them, take into consideration their opinion, respect their feelings and choices, and that's how you're gonna preserve your relationships in this area. For Libra, 4th house of the horoscope will have this conjunction, and 4th house of the horoscope represents feelings, mother, emotions. So be careful with your feelings and emotion. Control your anger. Just make sure that you are not cruel to those who are surround you, including yourself, and be good with your mother if she's around you. If not, just make sure that you're not conflicting with her. For Scorpios, 3rd house of the horoscope will be active, which represents hands. So make sure that when you're working with fire, right? If your job is related to fire, or if you are handling any sharp objects, be very careful not to harm your hands, okay? And also 3rd house of the horoscope represents our friends and our younger brothers or sisters, so just be nice and respectful with them. 3rd house of the horoscope also represents short-term short travelings, right? So be careful when you are on the road. Be very attentive. For Sagittarius, 2nd house of the horoscope will be active in this case, and look after your resources, your money. Don't overspend, and make sure that your speech is in conformity with how people feel. Just be respectful in your speech, and look after your diet, because the diet can be a problem, may create some difficulties with health. Now for Capricorn, we're going to have 1st house of the horoscope active, and the 1st house represents health. So overall, look after your health. 1st house also represents our head, so make sure that you keep your head cool, I would say, because this is a very fiery conjunction. You may feel impatient, you may feel full of desire to act, achieve without taking into consideration feelings and position of other people. You may feel that you're right and they're wrong, so be very careful with those feelings. Also for Capricorns, because this conjunction is happening in their first house, which is the house of personality, and that house of personality aspects the house of relationships with the spouse. So make sure that you do not over control your husband, or you do not feel that you are above, that you're superior. So just respect your husband and the relationships. This conjunction will be over on April 7th, and you will go back to your normal balanced condition. You may reconsider whatever you've been thinking. So just give it a time, be patient with that. For Aquarius, 12th house of the horoscope will be active. So for 12th house, just make sure that you are that you are giving yourself enough time and space for rest, that you're keeping yourself I would say, it's a good time just to be by yourself, to save your energy, because Mars in the 12th house may give you the situation where you're overspending your energy and feel you may feel lack of energy. Just make sure that you are saving your energy. And Saturn may give you some fears, right, in the 12th house. So just you can just be practical, right? See what is true and what is not. Take salty bath to neutralize this influence of the planets. That will help you to harmonize your 12th house of the horoscope. This conjunction in the 12th house may also cause difficulties in the sexual life, right? So just be patient, maybe stay away from it if you're seeing that there are some problems. Give it some time. After April 7th, it will go back to normal. For Pisces, it's going to be 11th house of the horoscope active, which represents friends, additional income, relationships with elder people. So make sure that you are respectful, whether in those relationships, you respect your elders, don't quarrel with them, don't fight with them. Again, be patient, be determined, focus on the highest wisdom, and that will help you a lot, because 11th house of the horoscope represents our goals, and this house becomes really strong when our goal is very, very high, is based on the wisdom. So read some knowledge, get some knowledge from the books, talk to wisdom people. That will help you a lot to harmonize your 11th house of the horoscope. When it comes to the income, don't be so much upset if something is not going right. Again, this position will change to the better after April the 7th. And for Pisces, and that's it actually, I listed all of the zodiac signs. So overall, just to conclude, this conjunction will be very, very powerful for those who focus on the highest goals of life, on wisdom, on doing good for people. It's a good time to help people, to do good for people through developing our own qualities, by being a good example for others, by being tolerant, and by being considerate. So this is a very, very good time for that. That is all for today. If you have any questions, or if you need a consultation for your own chart, please contact me directly. Follow me on YouTube. It's Jyotish for Life, the same name, and share it with your friends for whom you think it will be useful. All the best to you. Thank you for your attention, and we'll see you in my future videos.